So till now, what we have seen is we just ran the command docker run, and the container, the image name like nginx, and it started running the container. And from where we got that kind of image, we got it from the, it was pulled from the hub.docker.com. But that is a ready-made image. Okay, somebody has created, most probably the nginx company, and they have put it on docker hub, and we are directly using it, and it has the default nginx page, nothing else is there, right? But suppose we want our custom container, uh, we want an nginx container which will display our own page, not the page given by the nginx by default. Okay, or we want something else inside the container, that will be called as a uh, custom image. So how to create a custom image? One of the method is using a docker file. So we'll have to create a docker file, and in that we'll have to specify what we want to achieve, like the requirements and the procedures. Okay, that will give the instructions in the docker file, so that the our desired container is created. So every docker file will be having some of the commands which I have listed here. The first command will always start from. Okay, so even though we will be creating our custom image, it will still require a base image. Okay, so we'll be downloading a base image from, when we define from, and after from, when we give the image name, it will download that particular image. Okay, and on top of that, it will perform the below commands or below things. So first we'll set the label. Okay, it's the details of our name and email address, who created this image. Then some environmental variables. So this is particularly related to the programming, means the program where, for which, or the application for which we are creating the image, it should have that particular environmental variable, then only will be using it. Mm, then we'll set a working directory, means where should that application or the changes should be saved. Okay, the default working directory. Then we'll copy some contents. Okay, why we are copying, we'll come to know when we do the exercise. We'll be copying some contents from our uh, source to some destination will be the container image. And we can also do the same thing using add command. Instead of copy, we can also use add command. So add is also like copy, but it has an extra feature, like it can also copy the remote URLs. So you can directly give the URL from where to copy the contents. Then if you want some commands to be running inside the container, then you can use the run command. Okay, and the most important is expose. Okay, so important means we get confused in the expose. It is only for the documentation purpose. Documentation purpose means we know if you're creating an nginx container, it runs on port 80. Okay, and if we are mapping it on some other port, so that definition needs to define in the application. Okay, and instead of port 80 for nginx, if we write something else here, 8085, then it will not start listening on 8085, it will still listen on 80. This is only for documentation purpose, so that anybody can refer this, and they will come to know that this particular container runs only on this port 80. Okay, then we can run some commands. Every time we'll be running some command inside the container, and that is defined by entry point, and that is the default command. Okay, and if you want to override the default command, we'll have to use cmd. And there are some other instructions as well, but these are very important ones. Okay, so this might be confusing for most of you. Okay, but when we do the exercise, we'll come to know. And whenever we create a docker image, so I said that we'll be installing a base image. So on the top of this base image, it will install, suppose it is for Java Elasticsearch, so it will install Java, then it will install the Elasticsearch, and similarly for each line in the Docker file there will be a layer and a number. Okay, so in Docker file everything is in terms of layers, and this is one of the sample Docker file which we will also use for creating the Docker image. Okay, so as it is given here, from Nginx Alpine, we are instructing that download an Alpine image of Nginx. So for Nginx, we can also have different kinds of labels. This is one of the label that download the Alpine one. And Alpine, what is Alpine? Like Ubuntu, CentOS, Red Hat. Alpine is also an operating system which is used especially for containers. It is very lightweight. Okay, then I'm setting a maintainer label. I'm just giving my name and email address, then app port. Okay, suppose inside the container, someone means the programmer has defined an environmental app port. Okay, so we can use it in the container itself. Okay, then we'll be setting a working directory called usr share nginx html. Okay, why we are setting this usr share nginx html? We'll be copying some content of the application inside this. Okay, but you should know that nginx in Alpine is saving its default HTML pages inside USR share nginx HTML. When we did our exercises, it was shared in var www.html for Debian, but this is not a Debian image, it is an nginx Alpine image, and Alpine saves everything in a USR share nginx HTML. Then we'll be creating an application which has our application files. Okay, so it will copy this to dot means we have set this working directory as the default one, so it will copy it in this usr share nginx html. And again, this expose is only for documentation purpose. Even if you write here 8080, it won't make it listen on port 8080. It is only for the documentation. And as I said, we'll have to run some command. Okay, so this will start the nginx inside it. Okay, so quickly I'll just give a demo for this. I'm on the wrong VM. It will take some time, 2 minutes just. So actually we are performing the next exercise. We'll again do it on Monday. Create a Docker image for a sample HTML app. This one I'm doing now. VM is up. I'll just connect. Okay, I don't have anything on it. I have some containers. Sudo docker rm. I'll just remove it. everything should be clean when we start our exercises, otherwise there will be some conflicts. And I'll also remove the images. Okay, so this is done. Sudo docker images, sudo docker ps -a. So what I'm doing is I'll be creating a website directory. Cd website, and inside that I'm creating an app directory, mkdir app. I'll go inside the app directory, and this is our code. Okay, in this case it is very simple code, index.html, and just copy it. So some simple HTML code is inside it. Cat index.html. Just go one directory back. Okay, and we'll be creating now our docker file. Docker file. So what we have an app directory with index.html. This is our application code, and we have a docker file. So in this docker file, what we are doing is we'll be first downloading a base image, that is the alpine image. Then I'm setting the maintainer just a label that who created this image. The Just for example, we are not having an app port defined in our application code, but we can define application port as well. Then the working directory will be set, means it will do cd to this usr share nginx html, and then it will copy the app directory. Where is the app directory? It is in our current directory. So the docker file will check the current directory for app. Okay, it will copy the contents of app inside usr share nginx html. Okay, this is only for the documentation purpose, and then it will start the nginx inside the container. So for that, just do sudo docker build. Okay, we are building an image, so build -t. Okay, we'll given some name to that image. So what is the name I've given in this exercise? It is web app 1, web app 1, and just do dot. Okay, so what is this command doing? It is building an image, it is giving it a tag. Okay, or you can say a name to that image, and dot means search for docker file inside the current directory. Okay, and the name should always be docker file in this format. Just don't give it in the lowercase d. Okay, it should be like this only, and just press enter. Okay, so ignore this warning, and what it is doing is first it is downloading the base image as it is given in the docker file. Okay, the next command, it has set the label. Okay, then it is setting the environmental variable called app port. Okay, then it has set usr share nginx html directory. Okay, and then it is copying app inside usr share nginx html. Okay, copy app inside this, because whatever we keep in this directory will be displayed on the web server. Okay, and then it's starting the nginx inside the container, and our image is created. Okay, and as we did not give any tag to it, means tagging means this is also a tag, but after that we have to give some version number. As we didn't give any version number like v1 v2 or something like that, it took latest by default. So our image is created. If we do sudo docker images, okay, we can see web app 1 director web app 1 image is created. Okay, it downloaded nginx base image. Okay, now the image is created. Now we have to run this image. Sudo docker run. Okay, run it in a detached mode. Okay, map port 8090 In this case, I'll map 8090 to port 80. We know inside the container, Nginx runs on port 80, web app 1 and latest. Okay. So we are running this image. Until now we were downloading it from the Docker hub, but now we are instructing it to use it the local image. But check properly, it has started the container, and in the first whenever we run docker run command, it first checks if the image is available locally. It saw that it is available locally and it is running it. If there is no image, then it will search for docker hub with the same name. And now if I do sudo docker ps, okay, we can see a container is running on port 8090, and if I do curl localhost 8090, it will display our custom web page. Okay, now the same thing if I access it from the outside, 192.168.1.11 8090. Okay, our HTML page is displayed. So this is our custom image, okay, not the default one. So any questions on this? We'll do this again on Monday. Okay.
So is this the file, um, for example, you created this application now. If I
Mhm.
want this application to be on my system, you will simply give this image file to me, right?
No, this image file will not work. You'll have to again run this command again.
Okay,
Okay, so wait for some means few days. We'll learn
okay,
how to give it to everyone. Okay, we'll be learning about Docker backup and restore. Another one is, now next we have built the image. Now next we'll be pushing this image to some container registry. Okay, this
okay,
image. Okay, after pushing that it to the container registry, if that container registry is available publicly, okay, even you can use this image by downloading it from that public container registry.
okay,
Like just like the GitHub. In GitHub, I'll be sharing that code and you can download it from that GitHub. Similarly, we have Docker Hub. So on Monday or Tuesday, we'll be pushing this image or similar image to Docker Hub, and then we can download it from anywhere. So
okay,
this is the how we solve the problem of uh, before container and before DevOps and after DevOps. Now this is a portable image, right? It has all the dependencies. In this case, that there is no dependency required. Yeah, there is a dependency that Nginx is required, right? So suppose if I give only the app directory and I ask you to run it, but you don't have Nginx, and you will say that it is not working. But now, along with the application, I have also given you the Nginx web server inside that image.
mhm,
So everything is in that particular image, and it is very portable. Use as it is in your environment where Docker is installed. Okay, but Docker is required, and then you can run. You will get the same output. So the problem that it is running on my system, not running on your system, that problem is solved using
right.
Docker.
Prayag, if suppose we want to another image, right? That this image will
Voice is
also.
very low. I cannot hear you.
Now it's audible.
Yes.